And that's how I adopted John.
Can cats eat lasagna? Let's talk about it. Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. I got to see the Garfield movie early, so I'm going to review it right here. No spoilers, of course. Before we get started, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 700 subscribers. It's free to do so. It helps me out a lot. And before we get started on the main review, I'm going to read you guys a quick plot synopsis, just so you know what the movie is about. Garfield has an unexpected reunion with his long-lost father, a scruffy street cat who draws him into a high-stakes heist. Let's just say, before I went into this movie, my expectations were really low because, I was a very big Garfield fan when I was young. That's one of the biggest things I can remember from my life growing up. I loved, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I loved, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show. I literally had that on repeat. And then, I watched Garfield when I was young. I didn't watch, all of Garfield, like all of the history of Garfield, but I always found the relationship and the comedy between Garfield and Odie to be quite funny, to be one of the best parts of the show. And, him just talking to Odie and Odie just not really responding because Odie just barks at him a lot. I think the 2009 show was really awesome. That's what I really grew up with. That's what I really liked watching when I was a lot younger. The live action movie, when was that live action movie released? That one, like the mid 2000s, that was a bit odd and a bit of a shock to me. I think the more that I grow up and the more that I look at that movie, the more weird it gets. It's a very odd movie, and I just wasn't prepared for that. But I really do love the 2009 animated show. I kind of want to go back and see if it lives up to the hype that I had, because it's really good. I might go back and watch it. If you haven't seen it, watch a couple episodes of that. It's actually a really good show. And my expectations were low because the trailers, they didn't really do anything for me. It just looked like a standard, was a Sony animation pictures film. It didn't really look like a Spider-Verse kind of animated film, and it doesn't really have to. It is for kids. And before I say my opinion on this, I feel like a lot of kids will go into this really liking it. It's actually the second big kids movie of the year after Kung Fu Panda 3. Then you're gonna have Inside Out 2, so at least parents have something for their kids to go see this month, then next month, and then the month after that. And I think kids will really like this. But my expectations were really low because Chris Pratt, Chris Pratt is the voice of Garfield here, and I love Chris Pratt. I'm one of his biggest defenders. I know he has a lot of haters nowadays. Chris Pratt is like one of the most hated actors because I don't know if it's because of his political views or it's because of his relationship with his, wife and son and all that. I don't really know. I'm not really gonna get into that, but it sucks he has a lot of haters. But me personally, I really do enjoy him. I love him in Guardians of the Galaxy, Jurassic World, one of my favorite characters in that. He has that show on Amazon Prime. I've actually heard good things. Maybe I'll go watch that. But he might be voicing too many classic animated characters. And you might be thinking, well, it's only Mario and Garfield. Well, that's more than a lot of people get to do, to be honest with you. And I think he might do another one. He might have been cast in another classic animated role. I'm not too sure on that one though. But for me personally, I think Mario was enough for him and enough for me. I don't think he should be. I don't think he should be voicing Garfield. Mario, I actually thought he did a pretty good job for, better than I was expecting. I know a lot of people didn't really care for his voice in Mario, but I actually thought he nailed that. And one of the best parts about this movie and him as Garfield, it's more of the Chris Pratt that we know. He didn't really change his voice for this role. He sounds, his voice sounds a little bit lazier because what is Garfield? A big lazy cat that just eats a lot of food and doesn't really care what's going on in his life. So he didn't really impress me with his voice performance here. There's some moments where I did like him, did like his comedic tone, but at the same time, I feel like this role probably wasn't for him. There could have been someone that you could have cast for him. But will the kids going into this movie care about who's voicing Garfield? No, that's probably only, us adults who grew up with the Garfield really, are the ones judging this. So, did he do an okay job? Yeah. Did he do a great job? No. Would I have like someone else voice this role? Yes. So that's my thoughts on Chris Pratt voicing Garfield. This budget, this reportedly has a $60 million budget. That's the reports going on. There might be another report come out when this movie is officially released, but that is the official report at the moment, which, this is actually a pretty good budget for this movie. It probably means this won't, have that hard of a time breaking even, and it's probably going to turn a massive profit because, kids love going to see these movies. It's summer. Parents are going to want to take their kids to a movie, be like, get out of the house, kids. I don't want to see you. So they're going to make them go to this. And, I think this is already doing pretty good numbers in some foreign markets because this was already released in some foreign markets. I mean, I saw it online, there was already a massive, like a fight broken out at, a Garfield screening in an international territory. I was like, is this a cat fight? Because this is insane marketing if it is. But yeah, it's a pretty good budget for this movie. The animation looks pretty good. Not anything blowing my mind like Spider-Verse, but I expect this movie to make a decent amount of profit. And Baby Garfield, oh my god, Baby Garfield, what a national treasure this is. I want a Baby Garfield stuffed animal or just figure right now after this, because he was adorable. One of the best parts of the movie. I was like, this is crazy. I love it. And it just shows that studios are really coming for us with these baby figures. And, you got baby Grogu, now you got baby Garfield, you got other baby characters. They know how to get you, and they got me with this one because Baby Garfield is a cute character, and it just made me sad when something happens to him. I was like, no, and then he find in the trailer he finds John, so you're like, you're happy for him again. He has a home. But wow, he really got to me with those eyes. And Garfield, he still hates Mondays. He proves a good point in this movie where he's like, we should go from Sunday to Tuesday. And I mean, I guess sometimes cats are smart, because that's a pretty good point. But also, if you went from Sunday to Tuesday, then Tuesday would be your new Monday. So what are you going to do? You can't really get rid of Monday, because Monday will eventually show back up, and you'll still get the feeling of Monday even if you get rid of Monday. So, he's smart in one part, but he didn't think about it. But, Garfield, he's famous for hating Mondays, and they brought it in here. He still hates Mondays. And Garfield's dad, I think this is the first movie where with them showing or even mentioning Garfield's dad. I don't remember that in the original one. And his name is Vic. It's a very interesting name. I want to know like how much they paid Samuel L. Jackson for this role, because I never envisioned him to be in a Garfield movie or animated film to begin with. But I mean, I guess he did that horrible Paws of Fury movie where he was also a cat. So I mean, I guess he likes voicing cats. Maybe he has some cats. Who knows? But I guess he got paid a lot of money. Let's just say that. And there is a nice emotional scene between the two of them that was kind of one of the best parts of the movie. And it really worked for me. Samuel L. Jackson, he also did a decent job. But no, none of Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Pratt didn't blow me away. The rest of the cast, though, some of them actually did blow me away. Hannah Waddingham as the villain Jinx was actually one of my favorite characters. It's funny how she plays the villain in two different movies this month. This movie, and I'm not going to spoil what other movie she plays a villain in this month, but you can probably figure it out. But I really did like her performance here. Nicholas Hoult as John, that threw me off, because I didn't recognize his voice during the movie. I was like, who's voicing John? And John is really not in this movie a lot. He's not really the main characters of this movie. And I looked it up, it's Nicholas Hoult. I'm like, that makes no sense. Why pay Nicholas Hoult for this not to sound like Nicholas Hoult? It was just an odd casting choice that didn't make any sense. And you had another big character, Ving Rhames as Otto, one of my favorite characters, because he wanted, he was a big help to Garfield, but he also made fun of Garfield the whole movie. And we love when Garfield gets made fun of, because sometimes he deserved it. And this is pretty funny at times. Some jokes that actually got a chuckle out of me. Sometimes it's actually pretty self-aware, which I like when movies like this are self-aware, because they're usually pretty dumb. Yeah, and for me, someone that's going to be an adult, some jokes in these kids movies don't work, but sometimes they do, and this one did work at times. And the pacing, I think this movie has a perfect runtime. It's only about an hour and 30 minutes. Keep the kids entertained when the parents are not going to hopefully fall asleep in this one. The second act was kind of a slog to get through at some points compared to the first and third act. The first act is kind of introduction. Third act is where you get that big heist. Second act is kind of like emotional beats with like kind of like explaining, planning, and all that. It's still better than it being 2 hours long, but there are some story and character issues. But it's also, as I said, meant for kids, so they probably won't care. Overall, kids will enjoy this film, and it will be another Garfield movie that will make a lot of money because of its low budget, and that's all that matters. Kids will enjoy it, it's going to make money, but to me, it's one of those movies that I'll probably forget about soon, because it's not bad, it's just right in the middle, and I probably won't care to watch it again. Chris Pratt gives an okay performance, the animation's pretty decent, it's a fun hour-and-a-half movie that a lot of kids will enjoy. So Garfield, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I didn't think it was bad, nothing great, it's right in the middle for me. Kids will think it's probably the next coming of Christ, let's just say that. But yeah, it's probably going to do a lot of big box office money, because you got kids movie, you got this month, and then you got next month for Despicable Me. No, next month for Inside Out, and then July you got Despicable Me. So you got three kids movies to choose from. If you love kids movies, if you have kids that want to go see them, so that's your options. But if you did see Garfield, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. And if you did enjoy my review, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. On the road to 700 subscribers. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.